about some key plot lines, key villains, key characters, key relationships, all the things that you need to know to get you caught up on all your X-Men knowledge.
Alright, so that was a Comic Book Girl 19. I really like that chick, man. She really breaks down X-Men. I really love how she breaks down that story. If you guys have not seen it, go back and watch Comic Book Girl 19. Alright, so pretty much what I'm talking about is pretty much the same shit. I'm talking about X-Men. Actually, what I'm talking about, I'm going to be talking about the breakdown of what X-Men is really about. Actually, I'm going to be breaking down with my version of what superheroes, the Avengers, what Spider-Man, all the superheroes, protectors of our Earth, I call them the Realm Warriors. So today I'm going to be breaking down. Man, first, just let me just discuss this. Just let me just tell you this. First of all, just let me just say, for the people of humanity, I'm just gonna catch all you people up. You guys can go about your jobs. You guys can go about your money. You guys can go about your government. You can go about all the stuff that you believe in your mind to be real. But let me just blow your mind again now. Sorry, but if you're watching this video, the world that you live in is fake. This video is fake. Everything around you is a dark space. We're all just versions of our imaginations, and we're all living in a reality that is on top of a reality. And that reality is our minds. And we love it so much here on Earth that we are the recreation of consciousness. Consciousness that goes so far to literally make a zoo of itself. And we are left in bondage, but to learn a lesson. And that lesson is to remember what God's energy is about, who God, our creator, is, to remember that everything in life is all just versions being put into motion, repeat after repeat, until we all can get the loop. That we're all just need to wake up from the discipline of heaven and hell, left and right, Republican and Democrat, good versus evil, Star Wars and Darth Vader, Luke and I'm your father, DNA, reality check, church, everything is all hypnotic signatures into your mind to say to itself that you are an illusion, that you are a reality, that you are a spirit being of God, and you are like God and immortal. That we're all the gods in our stories, and we're all different versions of the stories. We're all Nyx, we're all Iragus, we're all Hercules, we're all Zeus, we're all Ares, we're all Pisces, we're all X-Men, we're all Iron Man, we're all Thors, we're all Hulks, we're all these reminders of DNA. And Hamlet knew it, Beethoven knew it. Beethoven and Da Vinci and Michelangelo, all those aristocrats from way back in the days, they all knew what they were. They were all remnants of chosen few people who were given the eyes and the artistry of the gods, of the higher beings, the angels, to express a story that talks about the consistency, the encouraging, the ongoing flashes of reality, of what is humanity. And that is what I'm talking about today. And I'm going to be breaking down so many different things in this video, if you're watching it. And all the thing I'm talking about is what's really going on. And what's really going on is, when we talk about Endgame, because that's coming out soon, it's really talking about resurrection, the New Testament, life being reborn again. It's talking about protectors of the earth, chosen few who were given different formulas around Earth. Iron Man, Captain America. I call Captain America the last remnant of the human consciousness from way back when, like from Caesar or some sorts, that part of that imaginational ego that doesn't want to rip itself from the world, that part of humanity that we all remembered and loved as the United States of America. It represented as the last stand of true human consciousness in America. Iron Man is the rich boy philanthropist, the pretty boy Floyd energy, the thing that runs around here and thinks that it's better than none, but it has an ongoing heart, like the Rocky, never to give up, but to keep going on with the story. Um, Doctor Strange is another remnant of the mystical arts, the Jesus, as you will, the Jesuit, the hypocrisy, the hypocritical, the fool, the one that's fooling everyone, the Lucifer character. That's the remnant of that. Hulk is like Hamlet, or like the ongoing anger within humanity, the anger that divides us, the division of STEM research, of science, of humans' bastardization of its own ego, reflecting itself by being a new form of artificial human embodiment experiment, a super soldier, a Hulk, a taboo that shouldn't have happened, a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, split personality. That division, like I said. Thor is a critical member from a higher plane, a Buddha, if you will, human consciousness with a hammer, and a theologian, someone from way then, partly Jew. Scarlet Witch, all these characters were all remnants of humanity, of our earth. And they all told the same story. That story is heaven and hell. We need to fight the system, but the uncovering of our minds. X-Men were representations of black people. If you go back and watch X-Men, really what X-Men is talking about is just breaking down what black people are. We are the different members of X-Men society are all talking about blacks. Martin Luther King was Professor X, a guy that used his witty powers but had a not such a popular background, but who thrived and strived to be who he knew he was, a superhuman intelligence, a man that can use his word to embark his journey in his truth, the marathon runner man, the marathon man almost, Professor X. Magneto was Malcolm X, both sharing the same X. In reflection, Martin Luther King X and Malcolm X. X meaning the trivial statement of their blackness, that they are fighting a cause. X-Men only expresses the fact that X-Men is only talking about black people, black men. X means to X out a person from society, to X out a person from religion, to excommunicate, to extend, to X amount, to never exterminate, to not be involved, to X-ray, to put into location, point, period. No other longitude or latitude. It's an X. It is a direct point in a period that never moves. It's a result of an effect. It's not a cause. It is an effect. It's an after. It's not a before. It's an after. And it never should be anything more than an after. It's not important to know. It's a thing. The dash in the X-Men only represents the DNA code, the melanin that the X stood for. Stan Lee was only expressing with X-Men, he was talking about blacks. And even him describes it in a lot of his interviews. Go back and watch a lot of his interviews on YouTube. If you can find them, download them to your computer hard drive. And go find his methodry into creating the X-Men. He even said what really spawned X-Men was from bigotry. It was a moment in the time of the civil rights, the riots, what was going on in Los Angeles, what was going on all over the world. With Martin Luther King, with Malcolm X. The Malcolm X was only a version of the Brotherhood, was Magneto. Magneto wanted to create a brotherhood that helped X-Men. Malcolm X wanted to create a brotherhood that helped black people. that worked with the Black Panthers that wanted to see black people have their rights met and protected, even if it meant taking it into their own hands, even if it was against protocol that society deemed as the right way to go about it. They had to go with their knowledge to break the code of what society felt like and to say, no, we're not going to agree with you on that. So, no, we're going to break down what we think and love and feel. And we're going to follow this guy named Malcolm X. And even if Malcolm X said to him being excommunicated from his own people, Muslims, and it was the Muslims that killed him. Mutants, other mutants that went against him because they felt that the other band of Muslims, mutants, were not so in belief of his movement. Thought it was too radical because it went against the Muslim or the other tradition of the code of that brotherhood or the sinister, you know. Sinister is another representation from the X-Men. All members and characters that born from X-Men only talks about blacks and their history within modern day society. And when you watch Stan Lee create X-Men, he was only talking about the momentarily moment where the consciousness of humanity and mankind were awakened. And they were seeing what the world is really about. And it was almost a breaking point. It was almost like a moment that said, bam! Explosion, the consciousness mind. Now people can actually remember what black people have been going through. And what black people have been going through all these years was a conscious battle with history. That black people never been appreciated for being put into slavery, and we only received depreciation. We never received a rise appreciation, society appreciation. We never been fully welcomed back to society. We had to fight for everything that we know was right, to always go against the grain, even if it goes against other members of our own melanin, which is also the X, the DNA code that humans, white humans, did not believe in. But they were also reflections of us, and that's what Professor X was saying. Even when in the movies, even in the cartoons, you'll hear Professor X say, there's a little mutant in everyone, or express that notion. Professor X is pretty much saying that it's in the blood, and it's hard for you to try to separate the two when it's one of the same. And human evolution, black people were representations of what human evolution can go through. That it can split the look of somebody consciously and throughout this reality of the body to show you that it's real. And what you're seeing with all members of X-Men is just a beautiful thing. It's actually a new genesis. But even with the Avengers, even with the stories of Green Hornet, Green Lantern, Superman, Batman, all these characters, the Avengers were legitimately, in all the superhero movies and all comic books, referencing to Earth and the battle of Earth's consciousness, is all just stories of humanity. It's like literally, legitimately the Bible. It is the human's Bible story of our universe. And that is what comic books are. And that's why comic books are such a prized thing, which a lot of people don't get. A lot of people think comic books were just about, these silly little stories. No. Why do you think these imaginators, writers, and creators talked about this stuff? Because it was so taboo to go against what was too mythical. People who wrote the Odysseys, people who wrote Norse mythology, will also describe and ascribe that there was a time before humanity that there were characters or caricature of remnants of a point in time where reality and consciousness believed that there was a version of life called a sun god, or called a person who was involved itself to be the god of all water, to be a god of all sky, of all wind, of all earth, of all sand, of all chaos, of all excommunicado. Latin words. They were just expressing alien, artificial experiences that this realm called Earth has caught and recorded. And for some reason, this part of whatever this whole galaxy that we live in, where Earth and Pluto and all these different planets are, it's capturing a glass, as you will, a veil of information. And these other beings are actually written in Bibles and in comic books. Like in Avengers, when you see Thanos, there is an alien frequency called a Thanos, maybe, but in a different name to our reality, rushing in already here and thinking that, like a tyrant, it needs to kill people out in order to bring the new resurrection of life back to Earth. These Rockefellers, or what, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, these excommunicado beings. And they're all different versions of them. Thanos, we saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy. Even in Guardians of the Galaxy kind of represents, again, another hit to human consciousness and society. Chris Pratt's character, Star-Lord, just is about a modern-day human that goes to space, an astronaut, as you will, and that talks about what he knows from his memory bank. And it puts it in a story place that is then expressed as a funny movie. And he even uses his memory from what he calls in modern day America on Earth as an emoji. He calls himself an avatar, pretty much. He creates a fake name, Star-Lord. But then we find out he is actually an alien spawn of DNA that is not human fully. He's just a hybrid. So that also describes what we are, hybrids. It's all reflection. It's all relative. Time is relative. Time meets no end in this experience. In this realm that we live in, time has no experience. It's only relative. It's only to what other version of your self's perception. Because that's all we are on Earth. We're just hearts and minds living one experience, the same experience, but just different versions of perception. That's it. That's all it is. And it's the same. Because, like the Matrix movie, if you watch with Neo, Matrix Reloaded, he actually talks about that. And he says, you've been here not once, not twice, but many, several times. But this is the first time where your mind has actually caught up to a different version. It's actually catching itself for the first time. And that is what's happening in our reality. Our consciousness, for the first time now, in 2019, because we passed so many different versions of it, now we're again witnessing our catch-up mode to where we're going through it again. And every millennium year, there's like an invisible hurricanal spiritual cycle that is just sucking people's souls and dying, but it's going to a pressure process. It's like a vacuum hole. It's just taking people out. And it's fixing people's processes as it goes along. And it's balancing out the cosmos of this reality experience and giving us superhero moments of like Robert Downey Jr.'s, of things that keep us going, keep us distracted, so we can keep reliving our stories, to be away from the fake life that we're living. Work, taxes, food, hygiene, clothes, sex, pussy, drugs, the escape, the great escape, drugs, ayahuasca, the daunting revelation of life, me seeing different more than being in the same. Changing your name, a Billy Watson, being somebody better than who you think, And that's pretty much what I'm talking about. So if we break down what we've learned so far, if you watch this video and you've gotten this far, I'm just throwing out so much information because I'm just trying to express the reflection of what society is going through. And that is a real thing. If you ever like Transformers, in fact, I'm going to try to bring up this song. Because Transformers was another version of what was really breaking down in human consciousness, was another reflection of what's happening here on Earth. That they were members of consciousness, AI technology that was put here on planet Earth to be best described as artificial intelligence from a different planet. And it was robots in disguise. You know, that was talking about AI intelligence posing itself as artificial inseminants of human uh, experiences. Pretty much, it was pre-recorded technology from a different race that created this race of machines that was recording our involvement of humanity, like how we live, we walk on 2 feet, we eat, we fuel ourselves, and they are recreations of people recording us, and they created these transformers, and they have personalities. They have what you call brains. And that's what we're seeing on TV and movies. That's why Transformers is so relative. And I'm going to play this song because it's a beautiful thing. You got to hear this.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots waves their paddle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. The Transformers, robots in disguise. The Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers.
And if you notice that it talks about our galaxy at the end of the logo. You know what I'm saying? So what you're watching in Transformers is exactly what humanity's consciousness has been recording for all these different beings around us. The veil of these different frequencies that we cannot see, but they now are existent on our planet. We are living amongst, for the first time, whether you believe it or not, consciously and spiritually, around artificial frequency alien intelligence. And it's here now, in front of us, all around us. But we're just being so distracted. And these actors, they know it. The studios have told them through hints of symbolism, but they're telling them, and Stan Lee died with the same knowledge of knowing what he was creating. It was more than about just people in the story. Why do you think he expressed so deeply upon his characters being more humanized? Every story that Stan Lee created was reflecting human consciousness, just reflecting the human spirit, being what we are. It was spiritual beings reflecting onto itself the human prison that we're in, called our bodies, and our distractions of our minds, the brain. And the Transformers are also versions of ascended being robot nano machine technology with human consciousness. That's what happened when infused with human recording. Transformers is exactly what you get. Pretty much what you see on Transformers are ascended humans within transhumanism machines. And these people knew it since even back in the day. That's why they created and called it a cartoon and a comic book, and it was so popular. They call them Decepticons because those were alien reptilian beings who took spiritual creation of control and greed and power, and they only know war. And the Autobots were like the vibration. They were like the Africans. They were like the Wakandans. You know, they were legitimately X-Men, what they were supposed to be, and Black Panther and all these different characters. Why do you think Wakanda was such a low-level story that's not really expressed that much, but it's so important, so vital? Because there were a race of blacks that were so beautiful and amazing that they reached the peak of their own evolution. They had to separate themselves from all of human mankind of Babylon, of the earth, United States, of Italy, of Spain, all countries. And they had to close all their gates to keep them within their culture, meaning their ancient text, so they wouldn't be taken from them, their magic, their magi, their Ra, the Amu, Allah, all those things that makes them who they are. They had to keep it, and they kept it sacred because they were Wakandans. You know, they were DNA, they were stem cell research, the last portion of human life. If all life was extinct, Wakanda would be the place you would go for the last remnant of hope. Because they had the shield of technology, of natural body, mind, spirit, soul, touch with the elders, the higher beings that they believed in, like the Indians believed in, and they kept it sacred, away from the rest of the world. And they labeled that teaching the Wakanda way. And they had technology that could help and cure the whole world. That's why even Black Panther, when you saw it, Chadwick Boseman, the actor, he was on there. As Black Panther, he even said, we're going to open our gates for the first time to the world. Because, why? Because they kept it sacred because they knew of what they had. And it's sad, we see Africa and all these rich countries, they're only reflections of Wakandans, of us, of the black race. We are a race with no country or home. We have no judicial system. We have no rights. We have nothing to protect us in any way, shape, or form in this reality of our society today in 2019, and from past to future, to always in history, blacks, we had our way when we had our own cultures, we had our own texts, we had our own food intake, when we were farmed, we were groomed, even slaughtered. We had our own system, our own, you can say Wakanda or vibranium, meaning our vibration. That's what Wakanda is. A vibranium is only reflection and symbolism to a vibration, a chemistry amongst our world consciousness that doesn't divide, doesn't separate, only segregates within itself and grows, plants seeds, has babies, experiences the metaphysical, the physical, extension of no credit, no debt, but only things that commonly flow with no break. Only build and to giveth to thyself. Love, harmony, respect, power, strength, broods, different tribes, tribal mindsets, building, all working in one unison. High, mid, low, ground, any form of life. Cold, hot, medium, whatever, night, day, meditation. They had it all. Wakanda for life, baby. They had it all. In our society, when that movie came out, we almost bastardized it. But it was the coming of the Wakanda people, meaning the blacks, consciousness waking up for the first time yet again, but now lay dormant because we go back to what? Our jobs, our Dr. Phil marriages, our Notebook style movie Titanic. Jax, Rose, love. That thing. Wakandans didn't have to live like that, bruh. They didn't have slang. They didn't have ebonics. They had mind, teaching, vibration, vibranium, technology. They had ascension, evolution. They had it all. What human society could have. In different, many variations and versions. But all going towards the same goal, just in different explanations. Iron Man was an explanation. Captain America was an explanation. All those different humans you saw in Justice League, Superman, in the JLA, the Martian coming, all were recorded texts of different versions of the Bible being expressed, all those different Bible stories in the same book, just different versions and varieties of it, of people who took the power of human chosen consciousness or the information that they knew of and applied it to society. And that's all you're seeing in these superhero movies, in these comic books. People who knew the material and they just had different versions of their expression of their life and their conscious life and did something overly amazing and also paid the price in a lot of ways. Logan, in a lot of ways, is a member of the Black Panther Party. He's a leader. All X-Men were meant to be Egyptian and black minorities. That's all I talked about. Mexicans, the Asians. That's all I ever talked about. Even whites, who are also segregated, who are also X-Men, who denied their mutation, who denied it. And they became to be like humans, to forget, but always reminded that they were different. And that's what human society is. We are revelations. All you people out there watching this video, you are revelation. That's all you are. You are remnants of consciousness being expressed to everyone's different experience. And everyone's experienced something different. I'm seeing myself here, but really I'm in a different plane. I've already been here already. I've done this already. I'm saying this again. Consciously I'm saying it. I've said this already. This is probably the first time I'm actually talking about it to myself and saying this is when I'm catching up with it for the first time. And we're all going through the cycle. Everybody's going through the cycle. And it's a real cycle that you're going through. It's not a game. We're all going through a repeat. You ever heard the saying, it feels like you're on a broken record? Because you are. And everyone's repeating the same cycle over and over. And we haven't caught on to it. We catch it in glimpses every once in a while. We'll wake up and we'll have deja vu. Or we'll look on the news and go, life could be better, huh? All these different reminders in your spirit and in your mind that you don't talk about to nobody else, but you know it, is what your reality is going through. And it's also going through the TV. And the people of Hollywood, they know it. It's subconsciously happening. You know, and the people don't want to tell you that it's happening. They're liars. You know, they're thinking, oh, you're just making it up. It's all in your head. You need to lay off the drugs. And really, the drugs thing is really becoming apparent. And I don't really like the drugs thing because it's there to strip us away of our creativity, to rely on a drug. So people out there doing drugs, remember that you abusing it like that, whether you know it or not, you are becoming a part of the system. And you guys need to really be careful of that because there's more to the story than repeating. You know? I just love this intro because this intro really expresses what we're going through in reality scenes. So if you guys never saw this trailer, it's called Mask, the intro. This was a good cartoon back then. This is before Transformers. This talks about the CIA. Mask! You know, I can go all day, man. These cartoons knew what they were talking about. Mask was legitimately just talking about the CIA and the government stories of the underground stuff that they're going to be working on. And, you know, it wasn't like the people knew. They knew. These people knew. And people know. Everyone knows. They just don't talk about it. You know, because it's just too much. You start talking about it, you go, damn, this is too much. Yeah, and it blows people's minds, man, when you talk about it. It really fucks with them.
It is the 31st.
It really fucks with people's mind when you really talk about this shit. They're like, damn, this shit really happened. I'm trying to find one more theme. I want to find this other. It's I forgot what it was called. I think it's called Sky Rangers or something. I think it was called Rangers or something. I gotta remember. I think it was called Rangers or something. Lone Rangers or something. Let me see. Yeah, Galaxy Rangers, man. Oh yeah, Galaxy Rangers. Galaxy Rangers were actually another expression of humanity from the Anunnaki or Zion. They were a human manufactured galaxy team of scientists and researchers from a different quadrant of alien technology, but they were the closest things to human explorers, and they were all in Earth, like the people in Star Trek and all that. Those people like Gene Roddenberry, they weren't crazy. People like Gene Roddenberry knew what the fuck is going on in space. He knew that there was more to what was meeting the eye, you know, like more than meets the eye, like Transformers shit, you know. But that's what Galaxy Rangers is talking about. I'm gonna play this trailer, and I'm just gonna explain to you why this is it, man. Galaxy Rangers, you've never seen this cartoon. It's a good cartoon, but it had a really kick-ass intro.
It's 1986. Two peaceful aliens journeyed to Earth, seeking our help.
Seeking our help.
They gave us the plans for our first.
They almost look Chinese.
Allowing mankind to open the doors to the stars. We have assembled a team of unique individuals to protect Earth and our allies. Courageous pioneers committed to the highest ideals of justice and dedicated to preserving law and order across the new frontier. These are the adventures of the Galaxy Rangers.
Masons. The Antichrist.
No guts, no glory. Taking it back.
If you notice too, just going back to that, just to that, what is that? Well, they actually have the intro and the outro. Okay, we'll play the outro too. I love the outro. You know, but the thing I wanted to break down is if you even look at this guy here, this blonde dude, he almost looked like Lucifer a little bit. Not this guy. That was like the captain and shit, the strong captain. They were all leaders though. They all had superpowers. He was always intelligence. He was the passive Mexican Indian. This guy here, he was almost like the Lucifer of the character group, but he was like the wild boy, you know, the thing that we all love, that genotype, you know, and all they were, just like I said, they were humans from aliens who chosen ones, but this was like Masons. This show was just fully described more about the Masonic CIA and their encouragement with alien technology, that they were not the only ones who aliens went to on Earth. Different groups have been with them. That's why you see a lot of these Masons and their symbolism all over the world, you know, because of that. So yeah, man. See, so we've been a part of this forever, man. Even with Power Rangers, man. You can even watch with Power Rangers. To cut their ass. Woo! I love Power Rangers. The Mighty Morphin is the best in the world. What? Woo! Get him, Walter Jones. What? You mighty Morphin Power Rangers. What? But anyway, so I just had to get hyped, man. I just love that shit. So, I mean, even Power Rangers were all representations of... Actually, Power Rangers goes deep. The Asian people knew what they were talking about when they did Power Rangers. Power Rangers actually talks about is past life regression. Power Rangers actually talks about what happens with humanity when they lose consciousness with their own elder animal form ancestry, with like their ancient texts of the old. Mighty Morphin was the closest thing to what the origin story of what humanity was struggling with in consciousness. and the dividing factors of what we were losing every generation. That's why when you saw Zordon, he said teens with attitude. He was saying chosen few humans who have the will in this reality and the less resilience, but still have creativity to coexist with this power, with this crystal energy. Meaning like the infusion of with the mind and the body, and who can have the wits and health to go through with this, to wield the power, alien technology, past life regression, to be almost materialized in the mind. I believe all the members of Mighty Morphin were just people who were already living this life before that. They were just descendants of this energy that the crystals responded to. And like people like the Black Ranger, he came from Mastodon. He came from a part of Africa. Wakanda, another version of the Avengers. Billy, the Triceratops, came from the ocean. You know, Poseidon, the Greek mythology. You know, Kimberly, the pterodactyl, or Rich, Jason. You know, the pterodactyl and the pterodactyl and the T-Rex were so close to within the same kingdom of itself, but they were just separate. One was in fire engulfed on the ground. The other was in the from the highest mountaintops, was soared the skies. But they were all relevance to the same kingdom. You know, and they all had different parts of it, but they all had different versions and varieties of their past lives that caught up with their dinosaur animals, that they were their power animals. On this part of life, that what we can see, that's who they represented, and that was their chi, almost their martial discipline that reconnected to their past selves through meditation of discipline of the mind again. And that's what Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin was about. I mean, it got more bastardized as it kept going, you know, and we kind of started losing touch with that spirit of things. But Mighty Morphin is the closest thing you'll get to getting back to the truth of it all. So yeah, if you're watching this video, man, it's real. I'm dropping a lot of knowledge in one video, man. But I hope someone watches it because it's real, and I'm putting it out there on YouTube so someone can watch it. So peace and love. My name's Tyrone P, baby. Know your knowledge.